Several things I had forgotten in my last video. I'm gonna start off with this meter. This is one of my backup Bolo amp meters, AC/DC amp meter. Now I had it inside this little case. It was hidden back somewhere, and like I said, a friend of mine found it when he was looking for that other part. And we tore everything out of the back seat of my pickup. It's laying on the seat itself. The reason I was kind of hesitant, I wasn't sure if somebody had actually stole this, because at the same place back behind my seat is a bunch of old CB radios. Let me show you one of them. Now I've got this is the ones here weren't they're in the seat of my pickup now, but these are the ones I found in the storage building when I was looking for my engine stand. These are the ones I've got these piled here. I've got about 4 of these because some of these work, some of them don't. Some of them are 40 channel, some of them are 23 channel. Now these are all AM radios. None of these are sideband. I've got 2 good 40 channel sideband rigs. I've got a couple of 23 channel sideband rigs. But anyway, because the CB radio, some of them look nice, some of them are kind of beat to hell. But anyway, I thought somebody could grab one of those CB radios and got maybe $20 for it. This meter, somebody in the case, somebody could have taken that to a swap meet and got $10-15 for it if they'd stolen it. But anyway, somebody didn't. But anyway, a friend of mine had found. I don't know why I couldn't find this thing. It was back under a corner somewhere. Now, also yesterday when I was looking for that little part, a friend of mine had found a part. It wasn't where we thought it was. It was another little can. But yeah, I took all my. These are primary sockets. There's a couple screwdrivers in there. There's a couple small crescents in there. Bigger crescents I don't have in here. I've got another one. I've got these are pliers and screwdrivers. There's another couple of screwdrivers in. There's a couple end wrenches in there. I just sorted out, just tried to semi-sort out, because I had boxes with tools and parts and nuts and bolts and just trash, all kind of thing. Everything you accumulate when you're doing mechanic work and AC work, electrical work, in the cab of your pickup. The lid came off one of my toolboxes in the back, so I can't put any tools in there that are worth anything. I don't really want somebody to steal it. Let's see. Next thing I want to cover, I didn't in my earlier video with my dream I had last night. I had about 4 dreams. I remember the last one. Now, the one thing I don't get for Laura, she has her YouTube channel is Nigella for me. She said she hates the dream. I don't get it. I love dreams. Now, even the ones where I'd consider nightmare type, I don't have very many nightmare type dreams, but even those, I don't think I enjoy them, but I find them interesting. I'll sit back and try to think, well, what life experience is, recreating itself in my dream? Because that's what dreams are. Dreams are the subconscious mind at play. Is that, I think that was Carl Jung. I think I'm kind of semi-quoting Carl Jung on that. But I follow Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud had a preoccupation with sex that was kind of I don't think I might sit I might lay down on the analytical couch of Carl Jung if he were still around. He's left us many, many years ago. I think he died back in the 40s. And Sigmund Freud, it's many years before that. But they knew each other. They were protege. Carl Jung was a protege of Sigmund Freud. But anyway, I find dreams interesting. Now, let me relate this dream that I had last night. For Laura, I don't get why she finds problems with dreams, because I rather enjoy trying to analyze them, trying to figure their meaning. I think that's why we have dreams. We have dreams to try to tell us something. But anyway, this one particular dream, I was at a particular job site. I had found my long extension ladder, and I'd taken that back to my truck, and I'd gone back trying to find my 6-foot step ladder. And it was a series of buildings, several buildings. They were all connected by a long corridor with opening doors. I'm talking to different people, so I'm trying to find my 6-foot step ladder, and people didn't know who I was. They didn't know where my ladder was at, that type of thing. But anyway, toward the end of the dream, I say, well, look, we're not worth all that much. I'll just leave it. Buy another one. I don't know what to say. I haven't bought a 6-foot step ladder in many years, so I don't know what the price is on them. But I thought, just leave it and buy another one. About that point in time, I woke up. Now, I had a couple other dreams before that. I don't really remember the dreams to relate them. Later, I might not. Sometimes sometimes I can remember dreams later when I try to think about them, and sometimes I just forgotten. Which they say that you really should keep a dream journal. You should write them down about as soon as you wake up. Now, I've never really done that. No, actually, I did that. Quite a number of years ago. For about 2 or 3 months, I wrote down my dreams, but I didn't keep it up. I think most people don't because most dreams don't make any sense, and most dreams don't have to. They're just bits and pieces of conscious waking reality repeating themselves in dreams. A lot of times you can kind of figure that out. They don't really have any spiritual meaning or anything like that. Either Freud or Jung had said that sometimes a dream is just a dream and doesn't have any real meaning. The last thing I'm going to cover, and I was listening to, I've heard this video 2 or 3 times. It's one of the ones I listen to. It's either Haley Reese, Avery After Dark, or Heart Starts Pounding. It's one of those 3 chicks because they're all very. There's another one. She's English. She's British, and I'm trying to think of her name. But her YouTube channel, and I can't for the life of me. I'll to give credit for. I'll remember it later. But anyway, it was one of these 4 chicks that have these. They're the ghost and history type YouTube channels. But anyway, particular individual here in the U.S. Now, why somebody would sign up for this is beyond me. I've heard this story 2 or 3 times. Now, there are people that agree. There are people that sign waivers to allow themselves to pretty much be tortured, to be tormented, to undergo maybe 12 hours or 24 or 48 hours of torture. It's kind of like those Halloween scare booths, but these are, you're being waterboarded, you're being handcuffed, you're being restrained, you're being screamed at by individuals. You're being put in freezing cold rooms. You're being what they're going to do to you, but people still agree to this. And one lady was suing the creator for attempted murder or something like that. And I remember the particular part of the U.S. this happened, but was a particular prosecutor or attorney general or whatever that responded said, look, and I guess they went back to the waiver this individual had signed and said, look, there's no legal precedence. So people had to, in essence, not word for word, but in essence, the people had agreed to this. They had to sign a legal waiver, so they really couldn't do anything. Now there was another one. It was actually on Kick. Now I actually set up the app on my phone, and just went to. I'll periodically go to the Kick platform. But anyway, somewhere in France, this guy had volunteered for this. He knew this was getting a lot of YouTube views. People watching this guy being tortured, by other individuals. Was this guy knew what he was doing? He knew what he was getting for. He eventually died from the experience. And one particular, I'm not sure. This has been quite a number of. This may have been a couple of years ago when this happened. One. It was their French equivalent of a prosecutor or attorney general or whatever was looking into this. I'm not sure, where that's gone because the same thing. This individual agreed to this, and apparently they'll have what's called a safe word. Now, if you like if you're, I don't know how many people remember this, but as a kid, if you said uncle, that was letting the people. Like I tell you, with a sibling, that you had. I'd say 3 brothers were beating up the youngest brother, and when the youngest brother said, cried uncle, that was supposed to be a key word to say, hey, look, I've had enough. You need to quit. That's what uncle. But they have a safe word. It could be anything, but it's an agreed to word. Like if you're into one of these torture things, torture scenarios, if you say this particular safe word, they're supposed to say, hey, it's supposed to end it and let you go. Apparently, a few of these people have used the safe word, but they just kept on going. They just, I guess that's why the people come back and file charges against the people putting these on. But anyway, getting back to this one on Kick over in France, this guy had died, and the legal authorities were looking into it. And I'm not sure what's come of that, but you do find Kick is still out there. But all I see on Kick are gamers. That seems to be pretty much what Kick is into, and I'm not into that type of gaming. Early on, I got into gaming. I like to play Duke Nukem, but I haven't seen Duke Nukem The last one I played ran on like DOS 6 or something like that, which is probably back in the 90s. That's the last time I played Duke Nukem. Now, there was some Duke Nukem software written to run on some of the Linux platforms, and I've downloaded them, I've tried them, but I could never get them to run. So I'm not sure where Duke Nukem is. Now they've got retro games. You can find these retro games on. They got the little chips that will plug into the back of a smart TV, and you can play retro games like the old Atari and ColecoVision games. You can play those. And Duke Nukem, some of the earlier versions may have been written to run on some of those. I need to find some of those and just see what games. There's a lot of the old games. I like to play Centipede, and one game I used to like to play on the what do they call it? Like that had the video arcades with Tempest. Used to like to play Tempest on a video arcade, but I was a kid last time. Back in the mid '80s. And I was an adult, a young adult back in the mid '80s. But anyway, I like to play Tempest, and I'm sure Tempest is written to play on one of those because it was a popular game. It's like with Centipede and Space Invaders, games like that. Let's see. There's one last thing I was going to cover, and I'll save it for a future video because I can't remember it now. That's the reason I write stuff down so I can keep track of them. Okay, for that one special check out there. Auf Wiedersehen, vaya con Dios, ciao, au revoir. Some French chick wants to teach me not only how to say au revoir, wants to teach me how to French kiss. We'll sit down and talk about it. For that other chick, das Vestania. Bye.